What up, brothers? Time for another Cobalt video. We're gonna attack that list that I was showing you last time. So there's a few things I want to get done today. I want to cut the supports out of the door. If you guys were watching the weight reduction videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. When I was tooling the door panels apart, there's this big support inside the door that I'm actually gonna cut out. I'm sure it weighs quite a bit. These doors are pretty heavy. I'm hoping it'll be, you know, a total maybe like 50 pounds. That'd be cool. Also, we're gonna be testing this paint stripper because you can see here that I already tried sanding some of the car. It wasn't a real aggressive sandpaper, but you know, doing a whole car is gonna be quite a bit of work. So I have this paint stripper we're gonna try and see how quickly that takes it off, because obviously I don't want to waste a lot of time sanding this thing down and then prepping it for paint after that with more sanding. So we're gonna do that. Also gonna take this badge off the side. I'm sure you guys have seen that a lot. I've seen a lot of videos of how people do that, Instagram and whatnot. I'll do my version of it. It's obviously not gonna be the cleanest way of doing it because I'm just gonna remove it. I'm not gonna be putting it back on. I just like that real smooth look, so we're gonna go for that on this car. And if we have time for anything else, we'll get into it. But for now, let's do it. All right, so with this door support, I gotta get the windows up. As you know, that there's nothing in the car. All the wiring harness is completely apart, so I can't just roll the window up with a switch. So this is actually a really good diagnostics way as well. So if you're trying to test whether it's the window or the switch that went bad, a really easy way that I use a lot actually is when once you get the panel apart, you get the plug off here. And I gotta say, this plug was actually a real pain. With this one, you push this tab down and then slide it out that way. But for some reason, I was really prying on it pretty hard. It still wouldn't clear the actual tab. So what I actually had to do was get a screwdriver in the back side and pry down on the one as I'm prying up on this. So basically putting it in there and turning it sideways was doing the double action, pushing it down on the one and pushing it up on the other. And then I was able to get a screwdriver into the side here and pry it out that way. But now that I've got it out, the way that you do this, you need a battery and two alligator clips, wires, whatever you want to use. So you see how the terminals are in there. You got one and the other one's hiding back there. You put a ground on one side and then the 12-volt source on the other, and it'll go either up or down, and then you switch it. You put the 12 on the other one and then put the ground on the other side, and then it'll go up or down. So that's how it works. It just reverses polarity. There's no other wires involved with that. So pretty simple, and it's a good way to check to see if the motor's working or if it's the switch that went bad. So here I got the battery pack with my jumper wires attached to each one. And so now I'm gonna probe into this thing. Sometimes what would work, since you don't have a lot of room with these gator clips, is put a paper clip unravel the paper clip and put them in there so you can actually probe into a wire a little easier, into a terminal. And always double check to make sure they work. Got lucky the first time. There it is. Now I can show you what I was talking about. These bars that are in here. These two big bars. If you watched the one before, I talked about how these are actually part of the door. They're pinch welded together on each end. So I can't, without disassembling the entire door, I can't get these out very easily. So what I'm gonna do is just sneak in there with a cutoff tool and just cut off as much as I can out of these door supports. I'm also gonna have to cut these in half because I don't have a ton of room to wiggle this whole bar out. So I'm gonna cut it right in the middle here, and then so I can push it in and pull it out this door and not have any issues with trying to get it out. So here's the tool I'm gonna be using to cut it off. Nice little right angle wheel. Super handy. I'll put it in the description below, see if I can find some cheap ones for you guys. So if you're interested. Well, upon further inspection, I'm gonna have to pull this door apart and actually be able to get in there. So if you can see with this, I really wanna get all the way back in there before the tube starts. But because of the door latch and the lock, I'm only able to get to maybe about like, it's kind of hard to see without the light, maybe to get to like right there. I really want to get all the way back here, so when I cut it, it's actually the whole bar that's coming out. So I'm gonna have to take the latch out and all. All right, so we're not gonna be able to cut as much as I thought. Track in the front here of the door for the window is actually part of, it's all kind of twined together. There's no bolts or anything to actually take apart. In order to get it off, I'd actually have to cut it. So I really don't wanna do all that and then have to weld it back together. So I'm gonna have to cut only a portion of that bar back. If you pause the video and look at the track and how it attaches in there, it actually is part of that pinch weld on the front seam of the door. So I can't actually get the track off. It's part of that. So what I'm gonna have to do instead is just cut where that tube starts, or as far as I can get before the track actually comes into play and stops me from getting in there. And so that's as much as I'll be able to cut off there. So I'm gonna do my best to keep as much of this latch together as I can, so I can hopefully just move it out of the way and not have to release any of the linkage or not, because it's just more to put back together in the long run. So I'm gonna do my best to see. I'm just gonna release the latch from the door, see if we can move it out of the way so I can at least get the tool in there and cut that. So I am gonna have to take some linkage off. I already popped this open. If you see the way this one works, this is for the actual handle latch itself. The way this works is you just pry behind here and it just opens up. And there is a thread fit, so when you go back in, it's adjustable. I'm gonna throw the latch in first, and then wherever this hangs, I'm gonna clip it together, so that'll be a good starting point. But I'll probably show you guys that when we go back together with this thing. And the other one, red latch there, I have to remove that linkage. See how it has that tab on the top of the linkage? There's also one under it you can't see, and I have to pry them both up and down in order to get the linkage out. Definitely very difficult in that hole there. I have this long flat blade I'm using to get that open. And definitely not an easy task, but gotta get it out in order to get this latch out of the way. So I only needed to release this one just so I could actually pivot it up out of the way. The other linkage is still attached. Definitely very difficult to get that detached in there. It's easy to go back in because you just pop it back in, but just because of the small quarters. But either way, I'm able to get the cutoff wheel in there now and actually get to the whole plate. So now I'm gonna get in it. So I got most of this cut out. The challenge I'm facing right now is, once again, getting into these tight corners. I'm wondering if the weight's even worth cutting out, just because we'll see what it actually weighs once I get it out. But I can't get on the bottom underneath the bar on that one. It's very difficult. I got most of it cut, as you can see. Nice line. And then same thing with these ones over here, where I go most of the way around the pipe, but I can't get on the back side. So right now I'm just trying to figure out how I'm actually gonna do that, as far as getting it all the way cut so I can pull it out. And don't do what I did. I went to pry on this bar a little bit to come up the door. I knew it was gonna happen, but I didn't know how bad. But if you can see, these little buttons here, it's from me prying on it, and now it dimpled the door. So, but that's the whole reason. You guys can learn from my mistakes, don't make them yourself. All right, so I'm gonna give myself some time to think about what to do with that door. So in the meantime, I'm gonna try this paint stripper that we got. He had some of this, my uncle over there, he had this used on his engine block and his heads that he had to get the paint off. It's like a biodegradable one. It's not like a huge heavy duty one, but we're just gonna see how it works. Apparently it's not too cheap. Apparently it's like 20 bucks for this container to do the whole car. Yeah, ain't gonna happen. So it tells me to use a paintbrush, spread it on. So I put some on the plastic bumper and some on the steel hood, or yeah, the hood, the trunk, to see the difference and see if they act differently on the different materials. It tells me to have it on there for about 3 to 24 hours, depending on how thick the coat is and the temperature that you're operating in. They say the warmer the better. They say above 50 to, yeah, they say 50 to 95 degrees is the range that you want to do it in. But you can do as as low as 32 in the shop. It'll probably be around average of 50 degrees. Well, actually with the space heater going that they got going on, it'll probably be higher than that. So I'm gonna let it sit for a few hours, come back and see what it does. So while we wait for the stripper to start working, I'm gonna get the badge off here. So I got my handy dandy heat gun. Turn this bad boy on. And like I said, I'm not looking to reuse it, so it's not gonna be nice. I'm just gonna heat it up, get it nice and soft, and then just peel it off. So after I heat it up, then I'm gonna use this little mechanics wire, get behind it, peel it right off. Ooh, that's hot. Pretty nice. I might have got a little too quick with that one, but this stuff pretty much just peels off. And I'm gonna be sanding this all down anyway with the rest of the car, so no big deal. Not sure how long it's been, but it's been maybe like 2 hours or something. You can see it's bubbling up a little bit. Working better on the steel than it is the plastic bumper here. So it's been roughly like 4 hours since I put this on here. You can tell it's looking up. It's really starting to come up now. This is definitely not doing as good of a job on the plastic. You can see it's coming up some. But all I'm gonna do right now is just wipe it to see what happens and how much paint comes off. Well, as you can see, it didn't really do too much. All it did was take off the matte coating. It really didn't do what I wanted it to. I mean, they do say 3 to 24 hours. Obviously, you know, 4 hours is not enough in this situation. But, you know, it's working. Just don't know if that's something, the route that I'm gonna take. I'm just trying some stuff right now, and we had this here, so I wanted to see what it did. All right, so after thinking about it, this is the way I'm gonna do it. At least this will get me closer. I don't know if this will get me a win, but we'll see. I put a brand new blade on this thing, so I have a little bit more diameter. Will hopefully get me through the tubes and get this thing cut off. We'll see where it gets me. Well, I got some of it out, some of that smaller bar. The big bar is definitely gonna be tougher. And I only got that middle piece out, as you can see from, hold on, from right in there to right there. I was just seeing if this body saw would work that I have right here, which it doesn't, it takes forever to get through anything. So I've cut as much as I could before I can go through that, because it's pretty sad. That's a Harbor Freight piece, by the way. But I still have struggles with this. I got it loose, but I still wasn't able to get down on the very bottom there, which is still a struggle. And this big pipe I can't get around for the life of me. So I'm trying my best here, people. But this piece, you know, may weigh 5 pounds that I got out. So I'm thinking that bigger piece may weigh like 15, the whole thing. And then you wonder, you question yourself, is it worth it? Is it really worth that weight? Because I've spent a couple hours on trying to get this thing out of here. And this is obviously just one side. And it's kind of, you know, how much aggravation am I willing to go through to get all this weight out? Because this is a fun car. I'm not like serious competition racing with this thing. So, who knows? We'll see where we go. All right, guys, I'm gonna cut the video here. Just not really sure. I'm trying a lot of options here, and it just seems to not really be working out as far as getting those the door bars out. So I may come back to it at a later date, or I'm just gonna abandon the whole idea. You know, just keep up on the videos to see what I actually do with it. Other than that, we're gonna take on something else off this list instead. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna go for next. Order an engine part soon, so you guys will start seeing that getting back into action, because obviously, you know, cleaning up. I gotta get the thing honed. I got to gonna start porting the head and whatnot. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing body work or start doing engine work next, but you know, you guys will know when I get another video out. Take it easy. See you guys later.